Can you hear
Good
us?
morning. Good morning. Can you all hear me okay?
Yes, ma'am.
Loud and clear.
Okay, I'm gonna stay off camera. I'm literally just waking up, so my apologies. But I wanted to pop in for a moment to talk about something going on next Wednesday in DC. And I know Dr. Ball is in that area and a lot of people that listen as well. So, well, first, a lot of people don't know me. I'm ML Smith. I am an organizer, an advocate. I run a couple different organizations, including Missourians to Abolish the Death Penalty, as well as Missouri Justice Coalition. So my work centers on prison issues in Missouri, also nationally as well. But next Wednesday in DC, we are holding the Free Her March. There is an organization, a national org called the National Council of Incarcerated and Formerly Incarcerated Women and Girls. And this organization has helped so many women across this country who are incarcerated, as well as families who have, family members who are incarcerated. And so, what they do is, from advocating to close down prisons and jails, helping people get clemency, just so many things. They also helped me when I was incarcerated. And so this is an org I'm really close with, and they're having their 10-year anniversary march in DC. We are demanding that this raggedy ass president do something that he promised that he was going to do. And, I just heard you, Dr. Ball, talk about when you talk about Biden, people assume you like Trump. Fuck all of them. I don't know. I'm just fuck all them people. They lie, all of
Yeah.
them. I wouldn't vote for Biden or Trump, in my worst time. But I think that right now, the Democrats, you know what, the Democrats are worse because they promise things, and people are very much indoctrinated by their rhetoric, right? With a racist like Trump and other people who are on their face racist, you know how to deal with them. But people like Biden or those folks that MLK talked about in the jail when he was in the jail in Birmingham about how these white folks are worse than the KKK. And so I put Biden in that camp. But he promised when he got elected that he would grant clemency to people. He promised also that he would get rid of the federal death penalty. He promised a lot of things, that he would fix what he did back in '94 with the Truth in Sentencing Act. He promised a lot of shit that he ain't done, right? And nobody's holding him accountable for those things. Even before the situation in Palestine, I was on some fuck Biden because he implemented this crime bill against our people, right? And now everybody like, oh, he great, he progressive, whatever. No, he the same person got our folks locked up. So I'm very much anti-Biden as well as anti-Trump. But like I said, we're going to DC next week to demand that he do what he's promised, including for a woman named Michelle West. Michelle has been in prison for 30 years. It was a nonviolent crime, and she basically was some conspiracy shit with drugs. And her and so many other women are still doing decades in federal prison behind the things that Biden did, in the 90s. So we are demanding
I'm
the
sorry,
release
you
of
said
Michelle
30
West.
years for a non-violent drug-related crime? I'm sorry, you said
Yes.
30?
Yes, Michelle West has been in prison over 30 years. A lot of times when women, say for instance, a woman's husband or boyfriend is doing, selling drugs, doing the things that they're doing, when they're caught and the prosecutors come to the women to be witnesses, if the women don't turn on their men, they get it worse. I literally know women that have been in prison 30, 40 years behind not snitching on their men. And that's happened with
Mm.
Michelle and so many other women. We were just holding a watch party for a friend named Danielle Metz. She did 23 years, and it was a conspiracy because her husband, was selling drugs, and she wouldn't turn on him once he got caught, and she never did anything, right? So it's very much women are often penalized more because they won't snitch on a man. And so yes, so Michelle West and so many other women have that same story, right? And we are demanding the release of Michelle and other women who are incarcerated federally. This is something President Biden should have been and did, and he has not. So we definitely invite people to come out. I believe the march starts at 11 Wednesday at the AME Church in DC, and we're marching over to Freedom Plaza. And we're going to have a lot of speakers out. This org, and I definitely invite people to support it. Online is called the Council. .us, but the Council for Formerly Incarcerated and Incarcerated Women and Girls, it is an amazing org. And I know earlier there were some issues on, and I just woke up, so I didn't catch it all. But a woman came on and we're talking to you all. And I know in the past as well, you all have caught a little heat because quote unquote ain't no woman on the show. But I mean, I know all of you, Geechee ain't married, but I know you all have women in your lives and support women's issues. But I do think that the incarceration of women goes by the wayside, even with women. Right. I see Black women every day talking about desirability and who don't want them and what men gonna pay $200 to go on a date and all this other shit. But y'all not talking about the Black women who are in prison. There's an 11-year-old little girl in jail right now in Lafayette, Louisiana, who's been in jail for several months. I don't see nobody yelling about her. But every other day I wake up, I see people talking about asinine shit that really it don't matter if somebody paying for a date. Who cares? You ain't free. Your people ain't free, right? There are Black women and mothers sitting in prisons that are suffering, and they need advocacy, and they need you to speak up for them. So I really get frustrated with my sisters, and I do call them sisters, right? But I get frustrated because we think we worried about the wrong shit. And we're so indoctrinated by what white folk told us we supposed to have, and not the fact that they've taken our liberty and our freedom. And so that's always, me. I'm always on incarceration and the oppression of our people in these cages. Because I was a Black woman in one of these cages at one point. And so I advocate for Black women and women in general. But next week we'll be in DC, and I really would love people to find this org, the National Council, support them, and really get involved with the fact that this country, this president is holding women in prison for decades, and we need more people screaming and upset about it.
Just real quick, I appreciate what you were saying, but just to be clear, Afra wasn't getting at us particularly for the issue of gender as much as political analysis, approach, and criticism. But I appreciate your point.
I get it. Yeah,
I did want to just to clarify again. What time next Wednesday on the 24th are you asking people to gather? And I heard you say the march is going to Lafayette Square in DC, but where is it? Where are you asking people to start, and what time are you asking people to get there?
So the march is starting at the AME Church. I believe it's on M Street. I'm not familiar with that much of DC, but it's the AME Church on M Street at 11 a.m. is when the march will start. So of course people will be gathering before that, and it's going to march to Freedom Plaza, which I believe is about a mile away. And so once it gets to Freedom Plaza, there will be some speakers and people talking about Michelle West and other women who are incarcerated. There will be some legislators that will speak as well. I'm not quite sure. I think Ayanna Presley is going to be there, but there will be some elected officials as well. And there are also some meetings with other Congress people that are happening outside of the march. But the march will start at 11 a.m. at the AME Church. And like I said, I believe it's on M Street in D.C.
Yeah, there's the Metropolitan AME Church, and I looked it up. It's 1518 M Street, Northwest DC, as I'm sure what you're talking about. And just to add a little weight to your event, I think I'm going to try to get down there and add one more elected official to your roster of gatherees.
Thank you, and bring the girls as well. Bring your daughters.
If I can. Kids because that the Hickory Ridge Village Board has a lot of power. So I just want to let you know when I come through. I don't want to make anybody feel a kind of way when I come through with all that strength. But
all that power.
But I don't want Miss Presley or anyone to feel a kind of way when I come through with all of that. But yes, I definitely would like to get down there, and if I can, I will bring the girls for sure.
Thank you so much, and everybody listening, if y'all in the DC area, please join us. Like I said, we have to come in unity and in one voice. about these issues. And of course, there will be many men there. So it is an organization focused on women, but there will be many men, and they fight for men too. They actually do advocate for, men as well, but they focus on women. But please, join us, and the organization's hashtag is Free Her. And so, that's what we've been screaming for. And the women who started this org were incarcerated in federal prison in Danbury, Connecticut. And a group of them got together and decided that they're not going to keep allowing this country to incarcerate and cage our women and not say anything. So I have issues with organizations, this nonprofit, complex. I often talk bad about this nonprofit industrial complex, but this particular organization is on the ground across this country doing work for women incarcerated.
Right on.
So thank you all so much. I appreciate the time, and
anytime.
I appreciate it.
All the time, anytime. Come on through. It's always good to hear from you, and at other times to see you. We understand,
Yeah,
you were ready today, but
For sure, I'll definitely have to come back and talk about. If you see my thumbnail one day, I'll come and talk about that. My state has over 100 people that die in our prison every year, and nobody's doing nothing about it. So I have a campaign about triple-digit deaths, and I go across the state trying to get support from everybody about the literally over 100 deaths in Missouri prisons a year. So maybe I'll come back one day and talk about that.
You got to earn your liberation.